Hello yarn friends, welcome into my channel. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. If you are a returning viewer, thanks for coming in. Today's tutorial, I am going to show you how to crochet this really easy tissue box cover. Now this is very easy. I feel like this is pretty beginner friendly and there's no straps or anything on the bottom and it's all attached. It's really fun. So let's jump into the materials today. If you guys are new, please leave me a comment down below. Let me know you are new. I love to say hi to all my new subscribers, and then let's jump into today's easy crochet tutorial. Now, the materials that I'm using for today's video is just some soft yarn. Honestly, I don't know the kind. It is like a 4-weight yarn though, and just any kind of like velvet type yarn. I can try to put a link down below of, the type that I use. I believe this is from Hobby Lobby. You'll need some kind of stuffing. You'll need a little bit of this, definitely more than what I have in my hand. Today I'm also going to be using a 4mm crochet hook. And right here I just have some Scotty's tissue, so any kind of tissues that you want. It does look like there is a much larger hole here, and if you were to open this is just a little tips and tricks. It looks like the cover that we're going to make today will not fit, but trust me, it will, because we are going to be covering all of this, and the only portion that's going to be, popping through is where we actually pull the tissues out like this. So we're going to be making a slit, and it's going to cover all of this plastic around the edge. So if you have one that looks like this, don't worry, it's totally fine. This pattern is still going to work well for you. So let's jump into today's tutorial. And I do want to note, I am sorry if you guys see the side of my photo box here, but my phone is broken, so I'm having to use a wide angle lens. So I do just want to apologize in advance. I do want to note, I'm going to have a video link right above here and in the description box, so that if you get confused on how we're making this, you can kind of watch these other videos. Now, to begin, you want to start with a slip knot, and you want to pick the color that you want for the body of your couch. Now, you can do it all in one color. I chose to do different colors for the cushions, but that is up to you. Now, to begin, we are going to start with a chain of 32. So we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So go ahead and make a chain of 32, and I will meet you back here. Now that we have our chain of 32, we want to start working back down. So we are going to work double crochets, and we're going to skip the first 2 stitches. So we're not working in here, we're not working into the second, but into the 3rd stitch from the hook. So we're going to yarn over, go into that space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. Now this counts as our first stitch. Our chain does not, so that counts as 1. And now we're going to make double crochets all the way down to the other side. You should have a total of 30 double crochets when you get to the other side. So go ahead and work this row, and I'll meet you back here. All right, now that you have your first row of double crochets all the way done, we are going to chain up 2 and turn our work. Now our chain will not count as a stitch. So our first stitch is going to go directly, let me show you, directly right here between these guys, okay? So we're gonna yarn over, we're gonna go directly down right here, and make our first double crochet. And there's our first stitch of our 30. Now we want to do a total of 4 rows of double crochets. So we want to have 4 in total. So this is our second. So you're going to go ahead and continue to work this for 2 more rows, and then meet me back here. This is what it should look like after you have 4 rows done. Now what we have done so far fits our tissue box just like this, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to place a few markers if you would like. We don't have to, but we're going to work 10 stitches, and then we're going to work back. Okay, so we're only going to work 2 rows to kind of fill this gap right here, and then we're going to work some rows over here on this side. So that's what we're going to be doing next, but I wanted to give you a visual of kind of how we're going to be building the top portion, which I feel like is the more complex of part to the easier to this pattern. So with that being said, moving on to the next portion. We have done our 4 rows, so we're going to chain up 2 because we're going to continue to work in double crochets. And now we are only going to work across 10 stitches and making half double crochets. So directly here into our first stitch, we will make 1, 2. So go ahead and make 10 half double crochets and then stop and meet me back here. Now I have worked my 10 double crochets, so at this point we still have a bunch left over here, but we're not working on this side for the next row. So we're going to chain up 2 and turn our work, and then we're just going to make 10 double crochets back across to the other side, and then we're actually going to tie off at the end of this row. Okay, so I finished the second row here. Now what we're going to do is we cut our yarn. We're going to yarn over and pull up our loop, just like that. Now, as you see, we have this funky little shape going on right now. Now, what we just did, just so you can understand how we're building this, is we just went ahead and made the little part right here. So now what we need to do is we need to do what we did on this side, but over on this side. However, we're going to start from the inside and work our way out. So we're going to start, 10 stitches in and then work over, and then we will finish right here. So let's do that now. All right, so move across to the other side and start at the end where our first stitch is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's where we're going to be starting our row, is right on that 10th stitch. So go ahead, grab your yarn, put a slip knot on there. This is just how I like to join my yarn, but if you have another way that you like to do it, feel free to work that way. Now I'm going to go in and I'm just going to chain up 1. I'm going to turn my work, and I'm actually just going to place a double crochet back into the same space where we had joined. So that's going to be our first double crochet. So remember, like on this side we did 2 rows, over on this side we're going to do 2 rows. So go ahead and work your way back down to the other side. Now that we're back to this side, we're going to chain up 2, turn our work, and now we're going to crochet back down to the other side. So working back into that first stitch, because again, our chains do not count as a stitch. And we're going to just work until we get to the center, but do not cut off at the end of this row. This is what we have so far, but like I said, do not cut off, because now what we're going to do is we're actually going to chain and skip across all these stitches right here. So we're going to chain 10, we're going to skip these 10 right here, and then we're going to slip stitch all the way across. So we're not working double crochets once we get to this side. We just want to work our way back over to the corner here. So that's what we're going to be doing next. So just loosely chain 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so try not to, try not to twist those stitches. And now what we're going to do is we're going to skip our chain, and we're just going to slip stitch directly into our first stitch. So when we go in, we're just going to pull our yarn through and pull it through, just like that. Okay, so now we're going to slip stitch all the way across until we get to the other side. So just pulling straight through. Perfect. So this is what it should look like now. Now what we're going to do is we are going to chain up 2 stitches like we did for the other side. Remember, we did 4 rows of double crochets over here. We did 2 in the center. Now what we're going to do is we are just going to work double crochets all the way back down. So I know it's a little tricky because we did all of our little slip stitches, but you just work like normal. We will have 10 double crochets, and then we will get to the chain stitch. So go ahead and work this and then meet me back here. Here I have made it to our chain. Now just starting in that first stitch right here, we're going to make a double crochet, and then just into each of these chain stitches is where we will work our double crochets. So you'll have 10 double crochets across your chain, and then 10 double crochets here, and then we will be back at 30 double crochets. This is our first row. After this one, you want to work 3 more rows until we have a total of 4, so that we are matching what we did on the other side. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. All right, friends, so this is what we should have so far once you work your 4 rows on the other side. So we have officially built the top portion to our cover. Now this is worked in one piece. We're not going to have to sew on any edge pieces, because what we're going to start doing now is we're going to start working in the round. Now when we get to the corners, I think we're going to do 2 to 3 stitches in the corners, just so that it can go down probably just 2 stitches. And yeah, so let's jump into that portion of the pattern now. Now here we're at the end of our row, and we're going to start working down the shorter side of the pattern here, so down this side. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to chain up 2, and we're going to work directly into the stitch here. 1 and 2. So we're going to work 1 more into that spot. Now this is only because it is a corner space. Okay, so now that we have done our corner, we're just going to work 1 double crochet into each of these. So right now we have 2 stitches. We're going to go right here. This will be 3. And you just find where the next row is. 4. In total, we have 10 down the side plus our 2 in the corners. So we should have a total of 12 stitches once we get down the edge here. So we have, remember, our chain does not count as a stitch. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the next spot. 5, 6, 7. Oops, I'm going to redo that one. 7. And if you work over the tails right here, it actually makes it pretty easy. So go ahead and just work your way on down. Okay, so I went ahead and worked across every row, or every row here. So we have the 2 on the end. So we have 1, 2. Again, we should have 12. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 2 on the end, 11 and 12. So now we're going to turn our work here, and we're going to work across all of our chains. This is going to be the initial side that we had worked for our chains, and we're just going to go into the second stitch. And we are going to continue to work along each space here for this side. Now, because we'll just end up having a total of 28 along this side here, because we're going to have 12, 12, 28, and 28. And the math comes out really weird, and the only reason is because we're putting 2 stitches in the corner here, and I counted them as 12 on this side, but we have the 2 stitches, and 1 counts for this side and 1 counts for this side. So I don't want to confuse you too much, but just go ahead and work along the edge, and then I will just give you the total stitch count at the end. And honestly, if it's a little bit off, that is okay, but I'm trying to explain it the best that I can. All right, so here we're at our last stitch, and we want to place 2 double crochets into that space right there. Now we are going to do what we did on the other side, and we are going to work a double crochet all the way along, and then now we have to make it until where we had initially joined, so we still have one more side to work across. So what we're going to do is we're going to place 2 double crochets around this chain space. We're going to do 1 into the chain space and 1 into the first double crochet, and that's going to work as our corner on this side. So now what we're going to do is we are just going to work 1 double crochet all the way along the top of our work until we get to our chain 3 right here, and that's where we're going to join. All right, so we have made it back to where we had initially started making our corner piece. So you should have a total of 82 stitches all the way around. If you're off by 1 or 2 stitches, that's okay. You will be fine. You don't need to go back and redo it, but if you had followed along with me, you should have 82 stitches. So right now we went ahead and kind of made like the corner bits, and now we're just going to start working in the round, okay? So we're just going to work 1 double crochet into every stitch around. And just to make it easy so that I don't need stitch markers, I like to do chains at the beginning of the rows for these. So we're going to skip the chain every time because it does not count as a stitch. And then we will go into the top of our first double crochet of the round, make a slip stitch, chain 2, and then work a double crochet back into that same space. And that's how I like to do it. If you would like to connect your rounds, you definitely can. But then at this point, we are going to work, I believe I did a total of 8 rows for the outside. So starting from this point, this will be row 1. We're gonna do 8 rows, or until you have the length that you need. That you need for the edge. So let's see, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I guess I did 8 including that one. So go ahead and do 7 more rows, and so this will be row 1, then you'll do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So go ahead and do 7 rows and then meet me back here. All right, now I ran out of yarn, so I actually went ahead and switched my color, but this is the side after we have worked our rows. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows in total. And now what we want to do is just simply connect and cut off. Now you can grab your box and see how this fits. You just kind of have to get the corners to meet when you put it on, but then it fits really nice and really snug, and then you have your portion for that. You may just need to pull it down a little bit on the sides, but that is how it fits once we have that done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the cushions like I did on the previous one here. I wish that I could continue to do it in this color, but I don't have enough, so this one's going to look a little funky, but that's okay. Again, you can use whatever colors you want. So we're going to work 2 identical cushions for these sides, and then we will work 1 cushion for the back. So if you are changing your color, go ahead and do that. We are working with the same hook size. Now we're going to start making the back cushion. So to begin with this, we are going to make a chain of 32. Now this yarn that I use is a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner than the other one. So if you are using a yarn that's, you know, thick, or you feel like this is going to be too long, you can do like 28 stitches or 28 chains. But go ahead and make however many you would like for the back, and I will meet you back here. Now, just like we did for the other one, we're going to skip the first stitch, skip the second stitch, and into the third stitch, we are going to make a double crochet right there into the third stitch from our hook. And that will be stitch number 1. Now we are just going to work all the way back down to the other side with double crochets, and then we will chain 2, turn our work, and then just work a total of like, I don't know, about 22, 21, 22 stitches, or 22 rows, I'm sorry, and then meet me back here. I'll kind of show you what it looks like here in just a moment. For the back portion, this is what it looks like once you have, I think I did about 20 rows. So what we'll do is we are going to fold them in half, and we'll do this step next, but you want to make sure that it's the height that you think that you will want for your cushion. Now for the arm pieces, you want to make a chain of 17, and then you'll make a total of 16 double crochets all the way across, and you do that for a total of 10 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, the way that we do these is we're going to fold them in half, and we're going to single crochet along the edge until we get here, and we'll stuff them. But if you want your cushions to be taller, that's totally okay. But I am running out of yarn here because I'm working with my scraps at this point. But go ahead and make 2 of the arms. Again, you want to chain 17, just like we did this guy, except this was 30. So we're going to chain 17, and then, I'm sorry, and then we'll end up having 15 double crochets because we want to have half the amount of the back of the couch. And I did run out of yarn, so I had to switch it here. But make 2 of these, and now we're going to sew. I'll show you really quick how I sew it onto our work. Okay, so moving on to assembly, I'm only going to show you how we close up the back because it's going to be the same for the arm pieces. So grab the matching color yarn for your couch. I ran out, so I'm going to use a different color, and we are simply just going to start, we're going to start in the corner that is not closest to the flap, so the one that's closed. So pick as close to the center as you can, and then make a slip knot and add this on. So now we are actually, I think I actually just single crocheted around the edges. So we're gonna pull in, drop a loop, just like that. And now simply single crochet around the edge. So we are gonna do this all the way around. Make sure you're going through both layers. Okay, so through both layers and making your single crochet. And we're just going to do this all the way along the edge. We'll put 2 in the corner, go down, 2 in the corner, and then stop once you get here, because then we're going to start stuffing. So go ahead and continue to do this, and I will meet you back here. So this is what it looks like once you single crochet around the edge. Now we still have this open, but what we're going to do is we are actually going to pull quite a bit of yarn up to continue that, but we are going to cut off because we're going to stuff, and this is only for the back piece. Okay, when you do these guys, you will simply go all the way up, stuff it, and then finish closing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a little bit of a loop so that I don't forget, you know, or that doesn't get pulled out. So go ahead and grab your stuffing at this point, and we only want to stuff about half of the cushion because then we're going to make a surface single crochet along the top if you want to do this here. I think for video purposes, if you guys really like that, I'm still going to do it because I don't want anybody to miss out. But if you just want this to be one long cushion, then feel free to go ahead and just skip this step. Now I have stuffed about halfway across to where I want my cushion to be, and I went ahead and cut a separate piece of yarn here. And we want to go ahead and make a slip knot. Now surface crochet, the way that we're going to do this, and I just eyeball this, I just stick my hook straight through to the other side starting at the bottom, and you want to put your stitch on there. Now we're going to pull that up to the other side, and now we are just going to go straight through, pull our working yarn up, and we're going to make a slip stitch. okay? And we are simply just going to go through both layers of the pillow, pulling up and pulling through. So just a standard slip stitch all the way up, and doing this, it's just going to divide your pillow. Now you would want to do this with a matching colored yarn and then do the best you can to do in a straight line. Now once you get to the top, you just simply pull through like you normally would. I think I gave myself a bit too much yarn here. Okay, and then make a knot. Leave enough of a tail so that you can go ahead and sew this in. But from here, you would finish stuffing the other side of the pillow, and then what that does is it just divides it. So you can choose to do this step or skip this step, it's up to you. But when you do this step with a matching yarn, you don't get that line like you see with mine. Once you have your pillow stuffed to your desire, go back to where you had left off, and then we are going to finish single crocheting along the pillow to close it off. And then you simply want to cut your yarn, draw up a loop, and pull that through. So now your pillow cushion is done. Now this one is not exactly even. I am kind of just rushing for video purposes. Definitely make sure that you go about halfway. But what we will do is we are going to use these stitches here to sew on to this portion. You will need a tapestry needle for this portion and then some yarn to sew with. Now, what I like to do, and this part is not precise, is I just like to line it up along with like the back. You definitely want to go through and sew in all these ends, but just kind of to the corner here. And it is going to be a little difficult for me to show you guys this part. But basically what I did is I would go through the back loop, or you can even go through both loops of like your corner. And then I just go as close as I can to the edge, and I would pull it through, but don't pull it through all the way. Definitely leave yourself enough space. And then I just like to make a few knots. And then that's how I sew it on, is I go through one layer of the pillow, and I think this is called just a whip stitch. So you just kind of go like this all the way along the back side. When you get done doing this along the back side, let me get a little closer. So this is how I do it. I go through the pillow and I go through the back portion and pull through. And I just do that all the way around. And then once I get done and I get to this corner, I flip it around. And you can either get a new piece of yarn, or if you had left yourself a long enough portion to sew with, then you would just turn it around. And then I like to go through the stitches on the front here. I'll try to get a little bit closer. I go through the stitches on the front, and then I just attach to a row, and I go this way. And then I'll attach to a stitch, and then I go down. And then you do that until you go all the way down the back, and then you can secure off if you'd like, and then you secure the front. And then when you have this cushion, you do the same thing. So you will start on the back side in the corner and attach and work around, turn it, and then attach this way. Okay, so it's kind of hard to show you guys this with my camera being broken, but that's all I did, is I went and I attached the back side. And then once I had these attached, because I did have some single crochets that I could still see here, I just did the same thing back, sewing these two portions together. But that is pretty much how I made that. I hope that was okay enough of an explanation. If you guys need me to make a more close-up video, I can definitely try, but just do the best you can to secure these to the top. I just kind of winged that portion, and I hope this video was easy enough for you to follow. If you guys have made it to the end of the video, please put sofa in the comments down below. That way I know that you made it through the whole tutorial. Let me know what you guys thought of today's video. If you can, give this video a thumbs up. It really does help my channel. Leave a comment and subscribe. And I will see you guys all next time for another crochet tutorial on Dream 9 Designs Yarn Corner of YouTube.